Hey, nurses, ambulatory nurses, all of you teachers. My name is Andrea. I'm a life coach and a bedside nurse and nurse communicator in TLC. And I was supposed to be with you today in person, had a family emergency and I'm out of state, but you are so valuable. I wanted to just share with you how exciting this is that you are done with your residency. It sounds like ready to get out into your career, have your own practice. You've created connections here. And I just want to share how appreciative I am for the impactful work that you do. I'm just going to say that again. I'm so appreciative for the impactful work that you do. And sometimes we don't notice that impact day by day because our mind is thinking, man, I just didn't get things done. I just don't know if I helped anyone today. I don't know if I helped my coworkers enough. I felt a little urgent at work. All of those things build up in the moment, and then we don't zoom out and see our impact. And so our impact lags some days until we get home and we're like, oh yeah, I did that. I did that. We just get to have our brains remember how much impact we make. And how do I know? I've been a nurse since 2004. It was my second career, and I understand building a nursing practice, feeling good and thriving in it, shift after shift, and it not feeling old and tired. That is my work, to continue to create impact, excitement, and thriving in my work. And I wanted to help you talk about difficulties with time today. And we often calibrate our feelings about what's happening with ourselves as nurses by the environment around us. And that works great until we have contrast, the contrast of maybe a number of staff one day that we don't love, maybe a number of patients one day. My work is to ask us to flip that you calibrate your work to the impact you're making so that you can see that impact on your environment. And that's the opposite of what we often think about and are taught, but I'm just going to say that one more time. We often calibrate our feelings about ourselves based on the environment around us. And when that environment isn't giving us the evidence we want to see that make us feel successful, then we lose out on the success and the impact that we're making in us. And so my process, the culture of one, helps us flip that. We start with us knowing, I'm going to figure this out today. Whatever happens, I'm going to take the best care of me. And we're going to have our brains find evidence for that in our environment. That's the culture of one. And let me tell you, nurses do hard things. And I think you know that. But I think you know that that's probably one thing you love about being a nurse. So thank you for being here. And you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn, Andrea Romer Coaching. Terry can always send me questions if there's things that come up that you want to talk through. And I do free consults with nurses just to talk about this and get some strategies and kind of be like, am I off base? I've been feeling really bad or really good. Is something happening here? I'm always willing to help. So that being said, you can always get a hold of me. And I want to share my screen now and jump into this. One of the concepts I always work on with nurses are difficult things. And this one is difficult situations with time. I'm just going to break this down really simply. How to have less distress around time. That might bring up a lot for you. You might be thinking, I am great at managing my time. I am not great at managing my time, or it depends on how many people need me, how good I am at managing my time. And all of our time is based on our thoughts about time and our priorities and what we want to see happening with time. Difficult time situations shift to shift. What I hear commonly is that if we had more staff, I would have more time. What we often see is that even with more staff, we still get to decide how to use or not use our time. And what I know about time is that we experience this situation with our mind and body shift to shift. Maybe the mind says there should be more staff. Sorry, just checking my time to make sure I stay on task. So this is short and simple. Your mind says there should be more staff. Our thinking mind. Your mind also says there should be less patience. I should be able to do all the things. Then your body feels really urgent and tense, right? Think about, we can all go back to that body place. Those are all okay, and they're going to come up. And then I'm going to ask you to think about intention here. Intention is what we think, the meaning that we assign to what we are experiencing. I'd like you to focus on you in moments at work. Intention helps us with our to-dos, right? We often think that our time is going to be equivalent to how much we can get done, when really how we're thinking about our time is going to equal how we use our agenda or the things that we get done. And when our body is feeling urgent and tense, that could be carrying over from the day before, when maybe we were really pushing to do extra work. And then the next day, your body remembers that urgency and that tenseness, even though your mind is like, everyone's here today. I'm okay. Your body might still remember that, and that's okay. Or your body might be coming off the weekend and it's Monday and you had a great weekend and you're relaxed, your body feels good. And then you get to work and your mind says, I heard the word short staff, there should be more staff here. And then your mind is going to ask your body to get more urgent and tense so that you can get more done. What I'm asking you to do is use intention to think, I have plenty of time in this moment. Focus on you in the moment so that you know what your mind and body are experiencing, and use your intention. And then we move to agenda, what we do, what we expect validates and creates our time. Sometimes we think the work is never done, and sometimes it never is done. We can focus on us in the moment and what do I need right now? Those are the thoughts that are the intentions that guide our agenda. And when we're always focusing on us first, I know that's a hard concept for us as nurses to know. How do I know? Because I am a nurse and I love to give. I have to give to myself first. So how are we going to be thinking about our time, our intention, when we know that the work isn't ever done? And how do we focus on us in that moment? And what do I need right now? So staffing and time, how to have less distress. Staffing, what could you think? Well, we know what we do think about it typically. This will never change. We could think this is right where we're supposed to be. How is that helpful to us? Because it helps our mind and body start to shift back to us instead of something that is out of our control. What could you say here? I'm here. There's a certain number of people here. Instead of using the words short-staffed, what would be hard? Doing any of this, starting to shift our mind to thinking, which is the intention, an agenda, doing something different with our mind and our body. What do you want to see happen? You might say, and I'm sorry I'm not there to hear these answers. You want to say more time to get things done. What that means to me is that you probably already know that even on the best of days, often our work isn't done. But what I typically think that when our body is feeling stressed and urgent, what we'd like to see happen is time, a little bit of time for ourselves so that we can regroup and not burn ourselves out. Mind and body, help mind and body be there for each other. You can use a sentence like, this is hard and it's okay. I'm figuring this out. Now, when we're thinking about time, what do you think if it's not correlated with staffing? What if you knew the number of nurses you had? You would ask yourself to not think we're short-staffed, but we have a number of staff. Then what do you think about time? I bet you all have some really practiced thoughts that come up, right? Like, I'm probably not going to have enough time to get my lunch today. It's going to be best for me to make sure that I'm helping everyone out, that I'm covering everything. We always want to take that back to, how are you going to be thinking about this? I have plenty of time. We want to take down the stress level, our body response, the urgency, the tenseness, and that's all going to start from our thinking mind, right? What our mind is thinking, our body is feeling. What could you say? Well, if you were thinking I have plenty of time, you could say, I'm going to be doing the best I can. What would be hard? Shifting from thinking about time in relation to staffing, where they are not equal to each other. What do you want to see happen? I would love for you to take a few minutes, maybe pause on this slide and answer these questions. And also, when we're thinking about staffing, are you able to think about it not in a way of time? Sorry, I'm going to go back to that one. How we have less distress is to know what our intention is. When we know our intention, we know our to-dos or our agenda. When our agenda is to get everything done, what's our intention there? We want to make sure that we want to get everything done without sacrificing ourselves. The intention is, this is hard and it's okay. I'm going to figure this out. My mind is telling me I should know, be able to do all of these things for everyone else. Your body is feeling tense and urgent. When we're tense and urgent, we aren't taking that's not good care of us. It doesn't help us think from the best place. Please don't misunderstand. I know all of you are great time managers because you're nurses. That's one thing I know about nurses. I simply offer this work because it gives us another way to evolve. And it answers that question of, how do we take care of ourselves first? And it's by separating staffing and time, two separate buckets, knowing mind and body, using intention before agenda. Because when your intention is to go in and get everything done, that puts you nowhere in the equation, right? This is hard. It's okay. I'm figuring it out, taking care of me. So trust me, I know that you're all experts at time. This is just my offering in helping us have less distress and think about ourselves first. So here's one solution I like to start from at times. If you had plenty of time, how would this day go? We can all think about those days, maybe a weekend day. For me, it's usually a Saturday where there's nothing. It's just like a wide open prairie of time. Not saying that's always the best for me, but I like how it feels in my body. We want to be getting that body feeling with a thought like, oh, this could work here too. Some kind of intention. So when you hear me say intention, that's a thought. So what is your priority today? If you're all raising your hand to say yourself, yes, the priority is taking care of you, mind and body. You might be thinking that is not possible, Andrea Romer. That is not possible. There's no staff and no time. Where am I in there? Mind and body. That's where you are. When you're feeling stress and urgency, or stress and tenseness, urgent and tense, that's when you know you're thinking something like, just keep going. That's when you get to pause and take a moment. Do you have support from your manager? What's that look like? Do you expect yourself to do the work of more people? Now, I know these are deep questions for nurses, right? I have heard nurses say, yes. And I know when we are quote unquote short staffed, and we have a number of nurses, I know where I have to fill in, but I also know the things that ebb and flow. I know that I don't ebb and flow for me. I continue to take care of me. What if doing more than taking care of you and your work is not your issue? And I mean that in the best way, because when it's not an issue, then we think differently. You stay focused on your tasks, you're willing to focus in more, which will give you more time. The more focused you are on how your mind and body are thinking and feeling, the tasks that the agenda you have from you thinking I have plenty of time, then you aren't thinking about everything outside of you in that moment, and you can focus on your work. And that opens up solutions. That takes you back to, if you had plenty of time, how would this day go? Well, we know how it would feel. Probably feel loose and open, like coming off the weekend or having that Saturday off. That's the feeling we want to bring at work. Now, you may have a lot of questions about this, and so I would love for you to reach out to me with them if you have any. And just remember, you're doing everything right. You have not gotten through your orientation because you're not good at managing your time. But intention and agenda are really wonderful things. You know, when you start out your day intending to go in and do all of your work, or not having any thought of yourself in there, I can do my work and take care of me. This is possible. That's what I want you to be thinking. So that then your to-do list is created from that feeling place, not from stress and urgency. Well, thank you to all of you for becoming nurses. I'm so excited to follow up with all of you and see what this brought up. And thank you so very, 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 very much. And I'm sorry that I couldn't be there today.